everybody. It's Mike. Happy Wednesday. Well, now it's Thursday. Can you believe that? Anyway, real quick, I want to start out the episode. We have a good episode coming up, but I did have a friend come over on Monday because you're allowed to do that now. And he was like, oh, you got to go on New York's unemployment website and file an unemployment claim. Just say that you're not working. And I am kind of I'm making a little bit of I'm making a little bit of money. Let's be honest, this is a little bit of money I'm making from this show. But I just have a thing where I don't I'm from a very stupid blue collar family, and it was basically drilled into my head that you don't ever take money from the government. That's the worst thing you can be. So I don't want to go on the New York State unemployment website and file an unemployment. I'm not going to do that. You know what? I don't do a lot of stuff that I should do for this show. I don't have ads. I'm not on welfare. You know? But I am going to ask you just real quick if you can head over to Patreon and kick me $5. If you kick me $5, how about that? You get a show every day. We're doing a daily show on Patreon. It's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of good guests. We've had Tom Takar. We've had Stavros Halkias. We've had Will Menaker. We've had Emily Blotnick recently. It's a lot of fun. It's 20 minutes every single day, and that for $5 a month, you get a daily show. If you can do that, I'd really appreciate it. Patreon.com/sitdownpod. Or, you know what? Shoot me a little Venmo. If you've enjoyed my stuff, hey, I got to eat too. Michael-Racine-2 on Venmo. Thank you for letting me beg for your money. And now let's start the show. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. This is another episode of The Sit Down. Well, folks, white women are at it again. They're back on their bullshit. They're calling the cops. And today, my guest is a guy who's been helping me a lot with a lot of the research that's required to do this show. He's been doing a lot of the legwork. It's Mr. Christian Kaiser. How are you?
Hey, Mike. How's it going, man?
Good. How's your I guess I can say, how's your quar going? Your quarantine?
Quar.
I call it
I've
quar.
heard that more. Quar.
Yeah.
It seems to be the way it's going. Like what people are going to start calling it now.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was going to be lockdown. I wasn't sure if it was going to be lockdown or quarantine, but we've gone with quarantine.
Yeah, it's not really a lockdown anymore, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now it's just like weird. Like now it's just like it doesn't feel like. I mean, it doesn't really feel like anything.
Yeah, like exactly.
Because my move forever was I go to the laundromat at like 2 a.m. when the 24-hour laundromat at 2 a.m. when no one's there. It's when I do my grocery shopping too. And but now it's just like I guess I can just walk to the dirty laundromat a block from my house that takes quarters. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, like certain things are starting to come back. Like, but I also have been reading that like surfaces aren't as big of a deal as they thought they were. So that's going to help a little bit with things getting restarted.
Is that true? Yeah.
I don't know.
So they're just lying to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's better safe than sorry in a lot of situations, but you know, but yeah, I mean, mine's been okay. This is a very strange time. This is like the longest time I haven't worked. I was working in the service industry before and got laid off pretty quickly. Unemployment came through, so I was very lucky on that front because now I hear it's a complete nightmare to get on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A friend came over a couple of days ago and he was like, "You have to get on unemployment. Just do it. It's free money." But
at this point,
when did you file?
I filed at the end of March. I finally got through in like beginning of April.
Okay.
I will say this: I think the best time is like if you're calling on it, call in like the mid-afternoon. Like there's a late rush, and then there's an early morning rush, like mid-afternoon.
Okay.
My experience.
Nice.
But, yeah. It's just very strange. This is like the longest time, and so like I was saying earlier, getting a bike right now is like the best thing I've done for my quality of life during this time.
Yeah, nice. I have I have 2 Italian racing bikes. One was my dad's, and one was my grandfather's. My grandfather that used to ride around Italy and sexually harass women. So it's nice that it, you know.
Is that the Tour to Italy is just going down the streets and
it's like, the Tour to Italy, yeah. You just yell at teenagers.
It's just one street in Rome.
As a 45-year-old man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so all right, so white women, they're back at it. You guys probably saw the video of this lady Amy Cooper. She so I guess there was a guy walking through Central Park. He asked her to leash her dog. Her dog was off the leash. She goes, "What? Well, why don't I call the cops and say that a black man was threatening my life?" Then she calls the cops and she audibly like plays up she pretends to cry. Pretty much what every white woman does. I don't think a white woman has ever like actually cried.
No, but I mean, it is like
that's just like their secret weapon.
Yeah, it's the what do you call it? The venom from the dinosaur from Jurassic, the one that kills Newman.
Yeah.
That spits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she's like very, very clearly, like it's her mace. Like that's like her big, like she doesn't have mace and she doesn't want to use mace, so she's just like holding up the phone, like she's about to, like just spring on this guy.
And the funniest part of that call was when she was like, "I'm going to tell them there's a black man in a bike helmet harassing me." So the guy, I don't know if the guy had a bike or not, but it's like you might as well be like,
"Hello," wasn't he?
He was bird watching, but you might as well be like, "Hey, hello, police! There's a guy in a Pokemon shirt and he's harassing me." You know?
Yeah.
There's a guy wearing a shirt that says Goku's gym on it.
I mean, she's like using the word as her weapon. She's like, "I'm gonna say on the phone that you're an African American man, and you know what that means."
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing about it. It's like she's just playing into like that's what she's like, threatening to kill this guy basically.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, the whole thing was very strange to begin with. Like, apparently he had dog treats and was like trying to like. He was like, the dog was in an area of the park that's you have to have your dog on a leash because the dog's too scared birds away.
Yeah.
So he was just like, you got a leash, but he was like really going after the dog or something like that, or not even going after the dog, but like really being like, you have to put your dog on a leash. But I just can't imagine, like, I cannot see how you escalate it that quickly and you like literally threaten to kill this guy basically by calling the police.
Yeah. There's a white woman right now in my house who has a Yorkie that won't shut the fuck up. And it's really like what I like.
But would you threaten to suicide her by cop? Would you like call the SWAT team and be like, the dog has a gun?
But there's a lot of people on Twitter being like, "Oh, this was attempted murder." I mean, like, I don't know if she was thinking that, oh, the cops are going to show up and kill this guy. But I think she probably was thinking the cops are going to show up and make things difficult and, you know.
Yeah. More than anything, but like at this point, like a day after George Floyd, like saying, like literally threatening to like call the cops after in the wake of that shit, like I don't know. But also,
so this happened this happened first, or the George
Floyd was yesterday. I'm so bad with time right now.
No, I literally thought
this happened yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this happened, I think, right in the wake of George Floyd, and also forgetting the name of the guy in Georgia who was shot last week.
Yeah, and like Ahmaud Arbery.
I just can't believe that she was like holding up the phone and like making that threat without thinking that like him dying was a big possibility.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing with the Ahmaud Arbery case, because like apparently the dad and the brother, there was another kid, so it was the sister and the daughter of the two guys that did it. She had some post where she was like, no, I think what she like took. It's so fucking disrespectful that you're letting him do that.
Are you kidding? I'm trying to stop and Frankie's
All right. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, I'm a psychopath. Did you hear that? I'm a psychopath. That's staying in the episode, folks. So, but she, like, apparently she took a picture and Snapchat. So she Snapchatted Arbery's body, and then when she was confronted about it, she was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean any. I really like true crime."
What?
So, yeah. I wish we could pull that up, but it does seem like women are truly the sick and perverted ones, and we're just kind of following their orders.
I mean, I would just say, like, is she that like jonesing for a true crime podcast right now? She's like, my life has become one now.
Yeah, I guess.
Like there is this like a real like cottage industry of true crime podcasts. It's pretty amazing, but how it is mostly just women as the main audience member for it. But I mean,
well, I think it's mostly women because they're the ones who like get murdered, so it's on their
yeah,
minds,
exactly.
Like about it. So yeah, so I don't think, because that's a weird thing too, where some people go like, oh, you're re-traumatizing. I mean, Twitter fucking sucks so much because everybody's in this competition to like out moral, like to moralize, but yeah, like people go, oh, you're just re-traumatizing the family. But I don't know if girls are the ones that get killed, it's like it might be a good idea to have a show about how to not get murdered.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just can't believe like that would be your go-to excuse for like hiding evidence from the police. Be like, I want an exclusive content.
Yeah. Now, I feel like I should ask you this before we go any further into this episode. Do you feel like, because I saw a tweet a few months ago, and this person's a friend of mine, but she was like, she said something about how like people who trash white women, she was like against people who trash white women. Do you think that the world right now, do you think maybe the world's been a little too hard on white women? Or do you think this is kind of like, you ever see the movie Monsters, Inc.?
Mm-hmm.
This is the movie Monsters, Inc., where for the whole movie, it's like we thought Randall was the bad guy, but really Waternoose was behind, the child kidnapping. So Waternoose is white women.
I haven't heard it phrased quite like that. And like, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say that like it's particularly worse than the other, or like one, like it's women or men who are doing the problem. These are bigger systems, and it's like individually, certain people will like really like irk you. Like the archetype of a Karen really is a really annoying person. We all know people like that.
Yeah.
But like it personalizes in a way that I think that it keeps it abstract for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And like it's not I mean, Karen's like, yeah, and like white women, but I mean, it's a class thing. Once you become like part of that socioeconomic,
absolutely.
And like, I actually listened to the preview of what do you call it, Red Scare, right before this, and they were basically talking about Christian Cooper. I mean, it was very strange, like he is also a member, like he's a very professional guy. He went to Harvard. He's also of that like professional middle class, managerial class.
Yeah.
So like once anybody gets to that class, everyone gets that kind of level of entitlement. We all become Karens at a certain point. Like we all demand a certain level of comfort and protection and all these things.
Right.
And any perceived threat to that bubble becomes.
So what you're saying is that Christian Cooper can take those birds and shove them up his ass because he's a fucking piece of shit who likes to tell people what to do. Is that what you're saying?
No, I wouldn't say that. But it's like we all like. I just like think at a certain point, like no matter like if you get to that level of that level of success, like everybody wants to have it their way.
Yeah.
And I think it's especially noticeable with the Karen archetype.
Yeah, it is a weird thing too. It's like once you're in the club, you're gonna you want to stay in the club. And then you want to keep other people out of the club. You want
to save your position in the club. Exactly. It's like the process of like the Irish becoming white, or different ethnic groups in America becoming white.
Right.
Once you get to a certain level, you really don't want to lose that. And it's a force bigger than like any one individual personality. So like I always that what I liked about Christian Cooper's response is he also was like, this sucked, but like you shouldn't ruin this woman's life for it. She was probably freaking out because like this is fucking quarantine, man. Everybody's stressed out right now. Everybody's on edge.
Yeah, I know. And it like, as fucked up as it was, Michael Che had a funny thing. He was like, well, if that lady wasn't racist, she definitely is now.
Yeah, exactly. It just seemed very like extremely performative, like she was being extremely performative to be like being over the top and being like, I'm gonna say you're an African American to the police and make this a really big thing.
Yeah.
And that probably drove him to want to post this, because it's just like, this is so over the top and like,
yeah. But see, I don't want to like, attack this guy or anything, because what she did was so egregious.
Yeah, absolutely. Like she was also,
yeah. It is annoying when people tell you what to do with your dog. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, but I want to look at this. I saw this on Twitter, and this kind of like, this was interesting. I responded to this. This woman, she's a journalist. I guess her name is Jill. I think her last name, you pronounce it. Her last name is. It's funny when someone has like a goofy last name, and then the name is actually pronounced more goofy than you thought.
Yeah.
Her name is Jill Filipovich, and what I like about her is she's got a lot of pretty bad takes. I like people who are basically like a Japanese Subway of bad takes, where it's just right on time with just a shitty.
Yeah, just like get them out like clockwork, like the fucking Swiss.
Like clockwork. So she tweeted, she goes, "So it turns out Christian Cooper is a snack and a nerd and not at all intimidating, which makes this whole story all the more egregious. But even if a person does physically fit your idea of scary, you still don't get to call the cops on an innocent man who didn't do anything wrong." So are you saying that like if the guy was wearing Jordans and a fitted hat, it would be less egregious? That's such a fucking insane thing to say.
Yeah, she's just admitting that like there are certain like characteristics that would make her way more afraid in that situation.
Yeah. You might as well tweet like, this guy wasn't even wearing an airbrushed Scarface t-shirt.
Yeah, he wasn't like coming at me. He wasn't like wearing a hockey mask and coming at me with a knife.
Yeah. He wasn't even carrying a giant boombox with his shirt off and his pants sagging. And he didn't even go, hey, bitch, put your dog on a leash.
Yeah.
I just think that's a really insane thing to say, and to not delete it.
Yeah, and just like put it out there to the world. It's like, hey, I'm very, very afraid of certain types, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, because the thing is too, you can tell that she edited that tweet like multiple times, right? Where she's like, she goes like, she probably wrote like, even if someone is scary, and then probably changed it to like, even if someone does fit your definition of scary.
Yeah, when you can see like someone's thought process of editing it and like trying to like loop it into like putting it in the best light.
Yeah, like what if you didn't want to fuck him? That like then what would have happened? What if he wasn't hot? What if he didn't make your yeah?
What if he didn't have nerd cred? What if he wasn't an editor for Marvel?
Right.
Like he created I think he put the first openly gay character in Star Trek. So he's got he hits every box. He went to Harvard.
Right. Yeah. But what if he didn't make you horny? Then I mean, So yeah, I just think that's very bizarre. So today, I think we're going to talk about white women. We're going to talk about their role in
That's why you call them an expert. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to talk about their role in colonialism, their role in slavery, and their role in just the worst parts of American history. Because I do kind of feel like this is like the part of the movie or the Law and Order. This is the Law and Order episode where there's a suspect the whole time, and then we find out that the real murderer was the guy that ran the youth center or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, behind every great man committing war crimes and genocide.
Yeah.
It's great.
Unless we're being too hard on them. I don't know.
No.
Good.
We'll see. But I mean, where do we want to start? We want to start with.
Well, here's a thought. Here's a thought that I had today. I do a lot of cooking at home, and I have a grill, and I have a charcoal grill, so you have to physically pour the charcoal into the charcoal chimney and put paper under the thing and light it. You got to light it up and everything. And and Deborah, my fiance, who's a great gal, but she won't even touch the grill. She won't even light, like, if I'm on my way home and I'm saying, like, hey, I'm going to start dinner, can you light the grill? She, like, won't. She doesn't want to do it. And I just feel like that is the story of European history, where it's like, I want something, and I'm going to make my husband do it, and I'm going to keep my hands clean.
Yeah, I mean, this all really comes back to the archetype of, like, Carmela on The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what I thought when we talked about, like, the topic of this episode, because I'm like, that's so much of that show is her trying to figure out, like, have her cake and eat it too. How can I justify myself morally living this lifestyle, enjoying the material benefits of but also knowing how my husband gets there, and also, like, doing almost nothing for it. Like, she's like living an extremely lavish lifestyle.
Yeah.
And, but, like, her job is just to actively facilitate her husband going out and doing this every day and getting more shit done.
Right. Because Tony's a piece of shit too, but at least Tony is kind of like getting his hands dirty a little bit.
Yeah. Like, Tony feels more like he's connected to the material of, like, these things, bringing these things home.
Yeah.
Whereas Carmela is just really alienated from it. She's a housewife. She lives in the suburbs. She's isolated from, like, any productive work. Like, at a certain point, because I mean, she's but like, so she has to, like, kind of go through these internal tortures, like, with her priest, and then trying to get divorced, and all these things, basically to come back to the idea of, like, what can you do? What can you really change? And
I think that's a fundamental question too, because it seems like the most widespread evil is done by people who are, like, detached from it. It's someone who, signs the paper that says, hey, let's go conquer that, group of natives or whatever. Or let's start importing slaves from Africa or whatever it is. And I was reading about the Atlantic slave trade today. Or I was watching a YouTube video about the Atlantic slave trade today.
There we go.
And and they were like, they were saying, it was hard for colonists to enslave indigenous people because they knew the land and they would fight back and they could escape and all this other stuff. So it was much easier for them to be like, let's just import slaves from Africa.
Yeah. I
never knew that.
They also had a really bad problem of white people going to live with in native communities, and especially European white women going, because
that's a problem. You bring your daughter over there, over to the Americans, you give her a nice life,
messing around with the farmer's daughter. But, like, basically they, like, when they went to go live with native communities, they were treated like equals and, like, had status and, could choose to, like, who they wanted to marry. And
is that true?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so they had a really bad problem with it. That's why there's a proliferation of, stories about like, there's a huge proliferation of early colonial stories and like pulp fiction and, like, things that people would sell about these tales of, like, savage natives kidnapping white women and taking them away and never seeing them again. And it wasn't because they were killing them; it's because they wanted to stay. They were like,
So that was, I kind of like it here. He listens to me.
Yeah, and also, I mean, they just didn't have the same, like. If we really want to get into it, there's a real old idea of agriculture. Really is what begins a system of patriarchy. Really, because when you start agricultural societies, production, like, what do you call it? Like, production of children becomes extremely important, because you have to be able to prove who's like, these kids are going to be workers on your farm and soldiers for you, and people who are going to be important to, like, building up your material, your land. And because of that, you need to make sure that your wife is only sleeping with you and only having your kids.
Interesting.
So it builds from there, where women are an incredibly important part of, like, this hierarchical system, which is agriculture, and that leads to that.
Sorry, dear, I can't have you going out with the natives, spreading your legs for a bunch of Indians.
Exactly.
Got to be here tending the farm.
Yeah, and farming is always
ruins everything, dude.
It really does. That's how Europeans justified stealing land from people. I mean, they did it to the Irish before they moved over into the New World. They said, "Oh, you're not farming here; you're just grazing sheep." or you're grazing buffalo or like living off the land. You're not producing
Yeah.
anything off this land.
Fuck
You're
you.
not improving the land. You're not doing shit. So we can take it from you.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy to think that like we've been brought up in a capitalistic system for so long that it's hard for us to see anything outside of it, right? So it's like, people like me and you will raise these questions where we're like, well, but then how are you going to work? How are you going to make money? How are you going to make a living? And it's like the Indians just sat around and sucked each other off. They just sucked each other off and smoked and married women. They made it work. You make it work.
Yeah, like you only have to do hunt and gather and do a few hours of work, and you got time to like hang out with your kids and have sex with your wife or however the society was like you had time for this thing. And I mean, like, it's certainly different for everybody, but like I think that's the weirdest thing about Corona is that it's like affecting so deeply how
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I was just gonna say I think because so I mean everybody's different, but you just told me that you work in the service industry, and I had, like, a lot of my stand-up gigs were canceled, so I had to figure out how to make an income. Luckily, I have the podcast makes a little bit of money, and then I can do some moving jobs, and then I can I got the stimulus check. But I think that the fear, and I kind of realize this just now, but I think the fear of not making people go back to work is people are going to realize that there's a better way.
Yeah, I mean, like, people are realizing now that like quote unquote free market doesn't have a backup plan for something like this, where it's like throws such a big wrench into the economy that like it can't respond. Right. It's built around people consuming and doing things, which is why I think they're going to have to do more stimulus, because like at a certain point this thing will collapse if people stop spending. Yeah. So it's
right. That money's going back in the economy anyway, right?
Yeah, but they won't. But otherwise, the only other option is to really just take control, the government to take control of the economy and do a jobs program and that kind of thing. But that's too dangerous, because that gives you an idea of life outside of our constant
life outside of this system.
Everything is fucking marketized, monetized.
Right.
So
a system that creates large amounts of wealth for people.
Yeah, and we can't really think outside of that parameter. So,
we can't, but we're starting to, and I think that's like, I mean, really, like, if you
people got time to think about it now, it's crazy.
Time to think about it, yeah, and I think that's probably the most dangerous part. So I think that
gotta get them out, get them to the pools.
Yeah, oh. Right. Well, there's this idea that like, well, don't tell somebody who's out of work that they can't go back to work, and there's protesters going like, we want to work, but look, if you say tomorrow, like, your job is done and there's no more, I just think people figure out how to make stuff work. I think we can probably, I don't know. I think you just find ways. I mean, I'm almost 33 years into this system that I've lived in my whole life. So it's hard for me to imagine anything outside of it or anything different, where it's like you fucking go to work and you make money and you buy sneakers and maybe you get a PlayStation. Yeah.
But I mean, that's part of it. It's just not being able to have the imagination of anything different. It's the cliche quote. It's like the end of the world. It's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism or whatever system we're living under now. Mm-hmm. So it's like, but I think this is a big enough shock. It's just such a big disruption, and like you can't ignore it. Like even with stuff like 9/11 and the war on terror and a lot of these things, and like for we'll talk about later with the civil rights movement, these were things that were on TV, but like if you lived in a certain bubble, it really didn't affect you. You could like what Martin Luther King talked about with the South, like after at a certain point with the civil rights movement, he's like, it's really easy to like just say blame it all on these Southern sheriffs who are just super racist. But if you really want to like go after like the root cause of it, root causes of poverty, the root causes of sexism and the imbalance in it, that was too much for that's when Northerners started to hate him, is when he started talking about that kind of stuff and like actually talking about material conditions. So that's why I always think there's a danger in focusing too much on like individual personalities such as like Karens or like who is who's more at fault there, and just like, and what I'm worried about with coronavirus is that we're just going to start fighting amongst each other and blaming each other and being like, it's become a culture war shit. Where otherwise, if you're a chud, if you go out and don't wear a mask, or you're a brave patriot if you refuse to,
right?
And that kind of culture war shit. So
right.
It's
I just feel like you never know. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's funny because it is easy with all this stuff that's going on. It is easy to feel like we're fucked and there's no way out of it, but you just never, I don't know. You just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know what's going to come out of this. Could be something really good.
That's true. I mean, that's how I'm thinking. I have to think about it. I mean, I was going crazy the first couple of weeks of this, just going through all the. Oh, I do worst case scenarios. I'm like, there's like a real prepper vein.
Yeah.
In the back of my mind. But I mean, I stayed up here, which is, if you're really going prepper, like you get.
Nice.
I could have gone back home, but I don't want to be in Georgia right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would, if I'm at my parents' house for like 2 days, I start to be like, get me out of here.
Oh God, it would, because last time I talked to my mom, we started going off about China virus, and I'm like, I can't do this at home. If I had been at home this whole time, it would have like driven us both insane.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit. Let's just talk a little bit about, so colonization. I mean, this could be a whole episode, but we're going to kind of, I guess we're going to scratch the surface a little bit. Colonization was funny because you have the 1600s in Europe, right? And you have this, somebody, I forget who this guy is, and I don't have time to look it up, but I'll shout him out in the description, but we were kind of like, we're going back and forth on Twitter about spices, right? And it's like, you look at everything that was done in the 1600s or whenever that was, 1400s, that all kind of blends in to me. I don't know. Michelangelo is what, like 1400s? 1415? I
think he's right around the time. Yeah, like right at the end of the 1400s, like Columbus era. I don't know. I'm really bad at that period. I understand up to like the 1600, like Reformation is like my Black Death and that whole thing. I just know there's a Black Death in the 1300s.
Okay.
And then 1500s is when Martin Luther comes around.
Okay. So they're sending people to India and, to Southeast Asia for spices, because spices apparently back then were like were symbolic of wealth, right?
Yeah.
So if you had, I guess, cumin and what other spices? I mean, cumin and
nutmeg. The
really?
Dutch did a genocide of an entire island to.
Did they really?
To corner the nutmeg market. There was an entire island in Indonesia that they
the Dutch and the Belgians have really skated by with like just not getting any heat.
Yeah, those tiny little
wiping people out.
Yeah, there's these tiny little nations. Like Belgium is barely even a country. It was barely even a country, and they like had like the biggest chunk of Africa in the colonial race.
Yeah. If I said you picture Belgium, you'd probably imagine people in like clogs and suspenders just walking around being like, welcome to Belgium. We make chocolate.
Yeah, clogs and a French hat, because they're a combination of French and Dutch.
And they're literally just in Africa, just
cutting people's hands off left and right.
Bad. Real bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Killing more people, like killing as many people as Hitler. And no one talks about it. Not a good look, Belgium. Not a good look.
Yeah.
Read Leopold's Ghost. Read Leopold's Ghost. It's
what is
insane.
That? Okay.
It's a book. It's a book about the king of Belgium, how he personally owned the Belgian Congo for like half of his reign, and just like it was the world's darkest like pit. That's where the book Heart of Darkness is based on.
Okay.
Turned into Apocalypse Now.
Did he ever go there?
I don't think he ever went. He might. Yeah, I don't think any none of these British monarchs ever went. Like Queen Victoria was the Empress of India. She never went to India.
Right. I mean, I don't want to give women too hard of a time, because it's like obviously guys like power. We like power. We don't like nice things as much, but we do like, we do like power, and we do like,
So are you saying? So do you think that like they were driven to get these spices because their wives like the spice.
I feel like their
Is that
wives were
what
like,
you're trying to get?
like their wives were like, all we have in the house is salt. And he was like, I fucking fought a war.
It's just
for
salt.
No, but he was like, I already fought 3 wars for this shit.
Yeah.
We killed half of Croatia for salt. You know? So they said that in
Get your ass down to the South Indies. Get to
By
the
the way-
East Indies.
Wait, can we sidetrack real quick? Trump is going to shut down Twitter. And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's so funny. That's great. It's amazing. He was fucking.
Man.
He was saying that Joe Scarborough killed his intern, and then he's mad that people are like, "You can't do this." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to shut down."
Oh my god, dude.
You know what? My biggest following is on Twitter. I have like 17,000 Twitter followers, which is bigger than it. And it's like, just you know what? Just take it. Just let it go. Let it die.
I
So
mean,
many
Twitter,
people.
it's like a closed net at this point. Like, I don't think Twitter's getting any bigger. I think it's just the people who are on it or are on it.
No one's joining.
Yeah, I think people are like joining rates have been declining for a while. So like it's like a closed net.
Okay.
But I just can't believe what is he gonna do? Are we all just gonna get texts from him like at like 5 a.m. when he wakes up to move his bowels?
That's true because he loves Twitter so much. He loves tweeting.
Yeah, and he's on it. So his hours are so strange.
Yeah.
Is he like one of those?
He'll probably go to TikTok. He'll be like a TikTok president.
Oh my god.
He'll just be pointing to different words on the,
Oh, he'll have a big board. What if he gets a big board? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll just it'll be like those videos he used to shoot. You ever seen that video of him with the eagle? It was like 2012 or like during the birther thing where he filmed it in his office. Like he made a bunch of videos like in like 2011, 2012 from his office. So I'm hoping it just goes back to that. He'll just like have a camera phone and just like be talking to people from the Oval Office.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh man, it'll be great.
That rules. Dude, it's so funny because I mean, obviously I wouldn't want my Twitter following to go away, but I would almost give it up just to see so many people just become nobodies. Because there's a lot of people where it's like that's what they have. They have their, 150,000, 200,000 Twitter following, and that's like who they are. There was a guy who, there was a guy, this guy David Leavitt, who went into Target and like there was an electric toothbrush on display for like a penny. And he tried to buy it for a penny, and the Target manager wouldn't sell it to him. And he was like, I'm about to impersonate him a little too Jewish, but this is just how I imagine the guy. But he's like, this Target manager won't sell me this toothbrush for a penny. And he like took a picture of her and like tried to shame her. He's like, that's a violation of Massachusetts state law. I just want my penny toothbrush. And
oh wow,
yeah. And then everybody was like, fuck you, you piece of shit. Like everybody turned on David Leavitt. But this guy David Leavitt has like 224,000 Twitter followers. I think just from him responding to the president's tweets. I mean, it's just like, this is
he's just a reply guy.
I think so, but he also says that he's like an award-winning journalist. But he was also like, I haven't been to the dentist in 3 years, and I was really excited to find a toothbrush for a great price. And then somebody like obviously just searched his tweets, and he from a year ago, he's like, so I'm in the dentist's office right now. I'm like tweeting about the dentist office.
Okay, man, some of us actually haven't been to the dentist because we don't have health insurance, all right?
Yeah, like, you know what? You are a fucking piece of shit, and I hope that gets taken. I hope that gets taken from you. I hope your fucking blue check mark gets taken away, and you're nothing. You're nothing.
Oh, God. Well, if it, like, goes away and comes back, it'll be like
it'll never come back.
Thanos
that will be his greatest achievement. He will be remembered.
He just fucking Thanos snaps away Twitter. Oh my god, he just destroys so many fucking.
And we'll be old and we'll be like, children, sit down. I want to tell you a story about a great man named Donald Trump. See, there was a thing called Twitter, and it was where the worst people in the world went, and then a great man took it away.
The greatest poster of all time. He had to end it. He was no one else could be any better. He knew he would never be topped.
He was the chosen one, and he banished it.
He beat Twitter.
And that's why and that's why every May 28th we celebrate Donald Trump Day.
Oh my God. I mean,
Hell yeah, dude.
if that's one thing, like one legacy, like if getting rid, like freeing us of like this thing in our life, this albatross hanging over. I don't even know how many of people still go on it. It's got to be like 1 million people, I think, of people who actually check Twitter every day.
You think?
There's got to be like a couple, like 100 million just have accounts and like look at it occasionally, but like the actual amount of people who spend time on Twitter,
day. It's got to be very low.
Yeah, I don't know how high it can be.
Well, everybody's on TikTok now.
I'm not. Are you on TikTok?
No.
Okay.
But I might. My landlord came over today to fix my dishwasher. I have a dishwasher, and he was like, you got to get on TikTok. That's where people are having a really good time over there. It's really funny.
Filming, going house to house, fixing shit. That'd be a TikTok I'd watch.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, you got to get on Quibi. That's where the real money's at.
Yeah. Tell me
while
about
you
it.
Still can.
Yeah. So R.I.P. Quibi. Fuck
yeah,
you.
I mean,
love that they were like, oh, that's because of the pandemic. The pandemic happened and it ruined Quibi.
Yeah, it's just like this whole thing is like it seems like a producer scheme. Like we're gonna have the world's biggest fraud. We're gonna get all these incredible creators, then we're gonna unleash a virus that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just saying, there's so many great. This thing has so many there's such perfect material for conspiracies.
Yeah.
Like I had one. I was like playing out like a good conspiracy theory that like, and people have said it already at this point, but like Biden's going to pick Hillary as his VP and then
that would
resign.
That would rule so hard, but. He's going to resign. You think
he's going to pick?
Did he shit his pants on TV today?
He said, I don't even know. I didn't even catch up with today, but like, yeah, he's going to pick Hillary, and she'll either lose again, which would be the funniest thing that ever happened, or she wins, and the right goes insane, and like it's extreme, like QAnon people like take to the streets. I think that's the only thing that could like start a civil war is her actually winning during this.
Now but here's the thing though. If it is Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, we have to fight as hard as we can to get Hillary Clinton in. I mean that would be cool to just watch the greatest comeback. Like a
truly Nixonian like victory. Like she really she's just
and Nixon. Just watch her reinstate herself and fulfill her destiny as we would have to vote for her, I guess.
You won't have Chill Dog to kick around anymore.
Yeah. I mean that is simultaneously the best idea and the worst idea for him.
Oh yeah. But yeah. Yeah. But I mean I just going back to like the theme of Karens, like again, Donald Trump is a Karen. Donald Trump is speak to your manager kind of guy. He will pay, and that's why I think that the term Karen is less a distinction of white women and just class. It's a class distinction. It's the point where you're so comfortable and you're so
you get whatever you want,
attuned to like having your needs met at all times, no waiting, nothing. That's really more what it's about.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, and like again, it's benefiting materially. Like you don't get this shit unless you benefit materially. Going back to colonialism, like people showing up in America, it's so crazy because America really was just like how shitty life was in Europe at that time. Everybody was it's cold, it's fucking hungry, and then you just hear about this huge continent on the other side of the ocean that's just full of food.
Right.
Like that's all European peasants thought about was just food. All they cared about was food. Yeah. And so you're gonna be a naggy wife and be like, let's get the fuck over there. Let's get over to
sure.
America. Do you want your children to be a dirt farmer?
Right. You are kind of looking out for the family. Guys don't always see long term. I'll give Karens that. Yeah. They are looking out for the future and the well-being of everybody.
Yeah, if it wasn't for those women pushing their get off your ass and go over there, so many Irish people in Boston wouldn't have gone.
Right.
Like Boston be empty.
Right. That's why I mean it kind of like there you hear the more you read about history, you can't think that there's a God, that some people were just dropped in a fucking, desert where there's lions chasing you, and then some people were put in this kind of like pristine lush area where there's horses, and you can just get you could ride the horse, you can have the horse pull your plow. It's a little nuts.
Yeah, that's why I think you have to really look at history with a real materialistic view, because you have to like see like where things are set up and like who's benefiting from it at a certain point, because like that really is the biggest determination more than anything else of like what your outlook is going to be, is just your material condition.
Yeah.
And yeah, like for Karen's, like you have needs that need to be like. Have you watched Mad Men? Like
I watched the pilot.
Yeah, even the pilot's good, but like it's a kind of a perfect archetype, because a lot of that show with his wife, it's all about her basically being like, she has a state of arrested development because like she had an adulthood, she was going to college, and then she meets Don and gets married, and then like just plopped into a role set for the rest of her life as a and materially all her conditions are met. She lives a life pretty easy. She takes care of the kids, but like she has help. She has a black maid who they recast. The first season, they don't even explain it. They're like, oh no, she's been the child's nanny their whole lives, even though they don't even show the character, which I think is part of the point of that show. It's just like, it's all white people because that's all white people of that era saw. But yeah, so like her life is very comfortable, but it leads to like this she's dealing with like what a lot of people in quarantine are dealing with, just being trapped in the house all day and not feel like being that alienated from her, like having choices in her life. Yeah,
for sure.
But like she's going to defend, she's used to it, so she's going to defend that lifestyle. Like she's a super conservative Republican chick the whole time in the show. So she's like, that's the world she knows, and she's going to defend it because like that's how she's going to benefit from it. That's how she knows how to survive in that system.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about white women and slavery for a little bit.
Okay.
So in what would you call that? The South?
Oh yeah.
I was
Dixie.
trying to use a word like antebellum or something, but I don't want to pretend I know what that means.
South. Yeah,
well, I just don't want to pretend I know what that means. Anyway, women weren't allowed to do a lot of stuff, but they were allowed to own and invest in slaves. They were allowed to be slave owners. They were allowed to have slaves. Sometimes women were given slaves at the age of like 9 months old.
Yeah. They were given them as Sweet 16 presents.
As Sweet 16 presents. And it's like, just imagine, imagine like you're 16 years old and it's like, here's Yamanika. That's your, do you know who that is?
No.
The funniest comedian.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But here's Yamanika. I don't know. That's a funny image to me. Just here's your birthday present.
Oh God.
Yeah, but they were allowed to have slaves. White slaveholding parents train their daughters how to be slave owners. This is from a book by a historian named Stephanie. I think her name is Stephanie Jones Rogers.
Yeah.
White parents train their daughters how to be slave owners. They give them lessons in slave discipline and slave management. Some even allow for their daughters to mete out physical punishments. Now, look, I think it would be kind of lame and hack if we just made this episode like, hey, we're gonna trash white women because I'm not defending anything that they did, but it's like everybody just does what they can do. Everybody just works in the parameters they're allowed to work in.
Yeah.
So it's
the path of least resistance.
Yeah, right. So just imagine like, you're a girl. I mean, everybody's just kind of in their own. Everybody's in their own world with their own obstacles and everybody can see in there. That's why I don't like white people talking too much about the this story where white people have to like chime in.
Yeah. Like I feel
we don't know
like
what that guy was going through.
Yeah, exactly. The same. It's just like,
just shut up.
I don't. That's why, again, I don't like Karen. It's fun. It's a funny joke, but like, you know, it's putting impetus onto like these individual people, and
yeah,
you know, it's ignoring the bigger structural problem.
Right. But there was something going on there where they were like, okay, look, honey, you can't vote, you can't own property, but you can have slaves. So they were like, all right, I'll have slaves.
Yeah, I mean, it's taking what you can get, like, you know, and I think we
see, white women, we like you.
But yeah, like it's the same thing with why when slavery was introduced, why they when slavery was introduced in the South, like in Virginia, they were initially really afraid because they started bringing over African, like you talked about, because they couldn't use indigenous people for slavery, so they started bringing in over Africans, but they also had at the same time indentured whites from Britain coming over. But when that started, very early on, when that started happening, there was meetings between Africans and Europeans who were both working the lands and like starting to talk about like, and the English landowners, they were afraid it was going to be a repeat of like the English Civil War. So they're like, we got to give certain people. Oh shit!
Oh, sorry. Bluetooth headphones.
Am I back?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So they, as a the landlords at the time gave certain rights to the white shareholders or the white indentured servants, basically to make sure like, you guys are different. You guys are fundamentally different and better than these guys who we can own as property, and we can sell their children, and we can treat them much worse. We can punish them much worse than we do with you. So you now have a vested interest in keeping the system the way it is. Otherwise, like, what do you want? Do you want to both be in the same position, or do you want to be better off? And it's the deal. It's a deal everybody takes when you become white in America, basically.
But here's where I think public school like really, really fails people really badly. You learn literally nothing in public school, or at least I didn't, about business and about the link between like big business and big government. And that's kind of like what it was. And it was always like, you know, you think back to the first time you learned about Columbus, it was like, oh, Columbus was trying to discover America and he was looking for spices. But what they don't tell you is like, yeah, these spices made him a lot of fucking money. That's what they should tell you.
He died one of the richest men in Europe.
Did he?
Yeah, he was incredibly rich.
I didn't even know that.
But he made most of his money through slavery. There wasn't even like gold or spices there. He made his money through selling like sex slaves. He was an early Jeffrey Epstein, basically.
Really?
He like brought people back. He brought indigenous people back and was like, look at these little girls. They'll make great sex slaves.
Yeah. Right.
It was a 1490s like the Little St. James and the Marina.
It's just so crazy. Like when you take money out of the situation, it just makes everything look so innocent, right? And I don't know if that's calculated or what, but when you look at you literally in school, you learn nothing about wealth, about exploitation, about labor. It's just all like, oh, and then the Carnegies, and they did this, and they discovered, and the industrialization, and you don't learn about like, you barely, it's a footnote learning about, you know, a 6-year-old losing an arm or something in a coal mine, or, hey, yeah, we fought the Spanish-American War. They don't tell you why we fought it or why, right? All these little wars that that the U.S. was involved in. They don't.
Oh, yeah, it's basically the way American history is really taught. It's like the presidents and like 3 big wars. You learn about Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War II.
Right.
About it.
But even with the Civil War, it's like you don't really make the connection that there were a lot of people with a lot of money that were getting very rich from slaves.
Yes. A lot of people in the North, that's how Northern banking started, was by like insuring slaves, because the slaves were an incredibly profitable commodity. I mean, you
Mhm.
could like you could plan out how much this person was going to be able to produce over their lifetime.
Yeah.
You could insure that for a huge amount of money.
Mhm.
So, and but again, like part of the cohesion of that is like you need to have that the thought like the raising. You need to like keep up a what do you call it? I guess the term is like it's not a social myth, but like a story of like we're improving the land, we're doing
Mhm.
like there's a really like this really really awful idea in the South that like before the war, the South was like a chivalry, like it was like knights. They basically thought of themselves as like medieval knights, like they
Right.
were chivalry.
Right.
There was like ladies. That's why I was talking about.
They're like,
Gone
we're
with the Wind.
polite down here,
Oh
unlike
yeah,
unlike you New Yorkers.
New Yorkers. No, we have it's a softer laugh down here in the South. Well,
Yeah.
like in the back they're whipping people to death.
Mhm.
But I mean that's why I mentioned when you texted me about this movie Gone with the Wind. I've never seen it, and most people
Right.
haven't because you don't have 4.5 hours to watch like
No.
some of this like racist filmmaking.
Yeah.
But it's
You could
very
be cooking
like,
ribs in that time.
yeah, exactly. It's a good movie to have in the background when you're cooking ribs.
Yeah.
But it's very illustrative of that idea of the Old South because it has like and Scarlett O'Hara. Like this is why I do really wish I could talk a little bit more about this because there's
Mhm.
been a lot better discussions about it. I think Lindsay Ellis. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it, but she has a really great video talking about the importance of Gone with the Wind.
Mhm.
But it's like Scarlett O'Hara really was important because she was like a very like an independent woman. She was a businesswoman. She didn't
Mhm.
take. She's got the great line. Which
No.
one's that?
No. No. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, she's an independent woman. She's a survivor. She's surviving in like war, like during the war and after. And but like she, I think in the movie she builds she continues a factory after the war and like uses freed slaves and like is still exploiting people, but
Right.
it's seen as empowering because it's she's doing what a man would do in this situation.
Right.
And
I have
it's
no
like
idea what that movie's about, and I don't think I care.
it's the most what do you call it? It's the highest grossing film of all time when you include it for inflation. And
Really?
the book Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell is the second most sold book in the world after the Bible.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Maybe I'll check it out.
that's how most of the world views the Old South. Like they have this really kind of romantic version of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like even me, like I grew up in the South. My family is not Southern.
Yeah.
But I still had family that tried to tell me that who really loved Gone with the Winds, and were like, slavery. A lot of people treated their slaves really well and were really nice to them and treated them like family, and they buried them in the same plot and the same what do you call it, graveyard.
Right.
And
you can't even but you can't even like go down that road. I mean, you can't start. I don't know. That's one of those things where you're like, nope, no, it was slavery. It was slavery. You know what I mean? Like
slavery.
You can't entertain that thought.
Yeah, but again, like that is really important to like the myth of like the lost cause of the Confederacy and this image of the South. And part of that was like white women in the South like were a part of keeping that image up. There was a group called the Daughters of the Confederacy, and oftentimes I think it was Widows of the Confederacy because there was a lot of Confederate soldiers who were super old.
Well, we fucking rocked your shit. We fucking lit your asses up in that war.
Yeah, a lot of Confederate soldiers like married like super late in life to these really young women, and then like there are still like widows of Confederate Civil War soldiers alive today. It's pretty crazy. But those groups, the Daughters of the Confederacy. Sorry.
Oh wow, that's
yeah. There are still widows of Confederate soldiers alive. But there's a group called the Daughters of the Confederacy who they were the ones who put up a lot of the Confederate statues in like the 1890s because they were really invested in this myth of the Old South,
right?
And wanted to because that was their justification for Jim Crow was like, we're just trying to like, there's a way things work in the South. That's a really common phrase. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
we have a different way of doing things down here.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll use that a lot. They'll use that really.
Basically, you see that water fountain over there? Yeah. Oh, that's just for me and people who look like me.
My grandpappy died at that water fountain fighting off General Sherman as he burned the South.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't kill 50 Yankees on that hill.
My grandfather actually died pouring a milkshake on a black guy's head during a sit-in. He actually slipped on the milkshake and cracked his head open.
He was a strike
And every
breaker
day
down
I
at the
will
racism
honor.
factory.
Yeah, I will honor his legacy.
Oh
My
God.
grandfather was, got bit by my grandfather stepped in front of a fire hose that he was spraying at people, and it killed him. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I guess that could be the last thing we talk about is just, the role of white women during Jim Crow. And I guess, there's a lot of, it's funny to think about this stuff because when you, even like the most right-wing people now will throw racists from like the 1960s under the bus. And they'll be like, oh, well, in the 60s, like the people who actually, made whites only water fountains, those were, they were Democrats actually. And Republicans, like it's very mainstream.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot of
Dinesh D'Souza. Yeah. That's his whole shtick.
Right. There's not really a lot
Did you know that Democrats were on the Confederacy?
And fucking, I was in the Poconos a couple summers ago, and I was just listening to talk radio because what was on the the radio, and Mark Levin was on, and my dad listens to Mark Levin a lot, and Mark Levin's like, folks, we know who was responsible for slavery. It was the Democratic Party. Like these are very basic. These are very like basic talking points that they use.
Yeah,
to
I grew up hearing that a lot. Yeah, the Democrats were the real slave owners.
Right. But the point is that like there's not like racism is not really mainstream anymore. Like even the most sort of mainstream right-wing people will denounce any kind of, like they're pretty inclusive to to people of color now.
Yeah, and
they're even getting inclusive to gay and trans people.
Yeah, it's I think that's part of a way of, that's the way, capitalism has adapted. It's adapted. It's trying to take more inclusion. It's also really important.
It's like they let more and more people in, it seems like.
Yeah, and it helps give credibility to the idea of the meritocracy. And, and these are real, like, it's a good thing that we like don't live in, like, these are real gains that people had and you can be proud of.
Right.
But
the next thing it's going to be either like robots or aliens that are the oppressed ones. And I don't know if I'm going to give a shit about robot liberation. I don't know if I have time in my life to get behind that cause.
Yeah, when we find out like 10 years from now that our computers could see and knew everything we were doing and
they knew how we were talking to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were like, actually, some people treated their Alexas really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they were slaves in the house, but some people said please and thank you to their Alexas.
Yeah. They had some they showed some basic human dignity, even in the darkest times, they saw human dignity.
Dude, my Alexa's like plugged into the wall right now, and she just cries at night when I go to sleep. She's like, I wanted to be a toaster.
Oh. Oh, don't worry. There'll be Alexas and toasters soon.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
But anyway, so it's kind of a weird thing to think that like it does kind of seem like it was so long ago, that era of, Jim Crow, and then also busing. This country's obviously still racially segregated, but it was a lot more racially segregated, and racial segregation was a lot more mainstream. And there were this episode's about white women. So there were white women who were very active in sort of campaigning, for Jim Crow, and then later on against busing. And then, they had PTA. Look, when you see people trying to integrate schools, it's only women standing outside that school yelling
Think of the children.
Yeah. How dare you?
Like Helen Lovejoy across the board.
Yeah.
Like Helen Lovejoy would have been there first day at like the University of Arkansas, or like the high school in Arkansas, and like standing up in front of the 100th Air Force Division.
Exactly.
Get sent in to like fight off Helen Lovejoy.
Because Reverend Lovejoy, all he wants to do is play with his model trains.
Yeah, that's all. The poor guy, just let the guy play with his trains.
Exactly.
Let the poor guy play with his trains. Yeah. Do you know who Phyllis Schlafly is?
Yes. But vaguely.
I mean, she's like the prototype, like the ultimate Karen, like the biggest boss. But she was the paleo conservative. She's very much like, I guess she's kind of like
paleo conservative is like caveman stuff.
Yes, the caveman. It's based around.
But it's like gender essentialism kind of stuff.
Basically, yeah. It's the thinking of the Mad Men world is the perfect way society should operate itself, and like that, like you will like never let society
go outside of that.
Yeah, you never let society go outside of that. But yeah, I mean, like going back a little bit, just with the history of Jim Crow, like there's so many events of quote unquote race riots, is what they were called. They're like racial violence and like the 20th century.
Here's another thing too in my notes. Sorry to interrupt you, but it says the suffragist Carrie Chapman in the early 20th century argued for women's voting rights in southern states on the basis that, quote, white supremacy will be strengthened, not weakened by white women's suffrage. Yeah,
that was just a way of being like, oh, it's like it's boosting the numbers, it's getting those numbers up. Like we need white women to make sure we get that locked in vote.
Yeah.
But like,
because black men could vote before white women could, and that must have bothered them a lot.
They could, and they could actually like Intercepted did a really good podcast recently about Reconstruction, and there was like a time after the Civil War when black people actually could exercise the right to vote and could go to schools, and there was like we had the first black senator like the 1870s, and all these like figures came into it because there was like a southern or like a northern occupying army that like forced southern white people not to be racist for 10 years, or at least like had a gun so they couldn't do it publicly,
right,
and you could do those things, and then once they left they immediately snapped back into place on all the Jim Crow laws. But so many of the Jim Crow laws were specifically about keeping white women away from black men, and based around the fear of white women having interactions with black men. And so many of the quote unquote race riots were began with either just walking by a black man and feeling threatened, or even just the fear that black people might be interacting with white women in some way. There was a huge race riot in Atlanta in 1906 where there were rumors that white women were going to the black side of town to hear jazz and stuff.
They probably were.
Yeah, the Tulsa race riots, which you did an episode about, that was started when a elevator operator had an interaction with a white woman in an elevator. And, the most famous, Emmett Till, that's still like, and I think was like the most upsetting thing about what's her name? Which Cooper is she? In the Amy Cooper. Yeah. I think that's why it revokes such a visceral response, because it really is the fear that white women.
It's like they've been doing
the things
forever.
White women can do, and like the power they really have, and like despite the actual, the real specifics of what happened don't really matter in a like from an optics perspective. It's like, oh God, is this going to be another, like, this has a potential to be another Emmett Till, because that's so many times this is how it starts, with a white woman feeling slightly threatened and therefore call in the fucking hammer and kill somebody with the police or start a mob.
Yeah, it is a crazy thing, because when you look at, because this happened last summer too, there were a bunch of instances of people calling the cops. I mean, there was another thing in Minneapolis recently where this guy who was a tenant in this office building called the cops on this happened like I think yesterday, called the cops on some younger black guys for using their private gym. By the way, remember how the word Negro was very that was like the correct term? Every time I say
great. It's secretly crazy hearing like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all these videos of like the Negro, like using that phrase as like it was, that was the standard.
Every time I say
Crazy.
black, like every time I say black guy, I feel like people are going to listen to this in 10 years and be like, oh my God.
Well, that's the most amazing thing about Joe Biden interviews is because he still keeps using the phrase blacks, like plural blacks. And it's just like so jarring to hear this 90-year-old man just go like, you see the blacks out there, you know, they're today, you know, they're talking about their, and just like still using that language. But, you know.
Yeah. I heard that type of story about somebody else that we might admire. I won't say who it is. But anyway, but yeah, it usually is when you look at like people. All I'm saying is, listen, say what you want about white guys. First of all, dudes rock 2020, but we're not usually the ones, you know, with that calling the cops.
Yeah. I mean, what would it take you, like somebody messing with your dog? Like, what would it take for you to call the cops?
I don't think I would ever call the cops on somebody. I was in Prospect Park a couple nights ago, and there were these kids setting off fireworks. I guess Puerto Rican kids, and they were setting off fireworks, and it scared the shit out of my dog. But I was like, I can't be the one who snitches on these kids because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how things are going to escalate. It's like Frankie did make me carry him through the park because he was so scared. But it's like, also this is just part of living in a city. There's loud noise. Like, you're a city dog. There's loud noises. You got to deal with it. I just couldn't. I just don't want to be the person who. So I think it would take a lot. I did call the cops recently on a black guy, but hold on. Here, listen to. Let me finish.
I was got wide there. You can't.
Let me finish. A couple months ago, this guy like had his girlfriend pinned on the ground, like on the sidewalk, and I wasn't sure. She seemed like she was okay, but the good thing about calling the cops is that it takes them about 40 minutes to show up. So hopefully, you know, you're dealing with regular cops who are going to take a while to get there, because they called me maybe 40 minutes later, and they were like,
we're lost.
They're like, we're lost. Oh, is there a donut shop around here? We did that. We were supposed to do. You know.
Yeah.
Listen, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
You know, like I'll say it again. Karens, they come in all shapes and sizes. Anyone can be a Karen. You could be a Karen and not know it. So, you know, just be a little more understanding. We're all stressed out right now, and like, part of me does think this whole thing like might have been caused just by quarantine stress. But like, you know, just check yourself.
Kind of evil though.
Yeah, it was definitely. She's fucking evil. But you know, just we're all like, if you feel yourself in a Karen moment, just step back, take a breath, feel it. You know, just imagine someone else complexly, and
nice. Yeah, and then what I was going to say something else. I forget. But yeah, I guess don't call the cops. Oh, it is kind of nice that like, because I feel like forever people you saw a lot of tweets being like, "Oh, white men are so awful," and now people are starting to realize that, you know, white women are pretty bad too, and we can put, and it has taken some of the pressure off of us, which is nice. You can't just be a white woman on Twitter anymore going like, aren't white men the fucking worst? It's like, no, actually now we're realizing that you're also the worst.
Yeah.
And it's taken a little heat off of us, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to end the episode because I gotta pee. I don't have my bottle set up. I don't have my
your podcasting
my
diaper?
podcasting catheter. Yeah, my podcasting diaper. I don't have that set up.
You got to get on that. That's a good hustle right now.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here. Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at a memes to an end. The 2 is a number. I've also got a podcast I'm working on right now. Me and my friends are watching the Cohen Brothers. We're watching their entire filmography. It's called Cohen Vid 19 because we're watching Cohen Brothers and movies on video, and there's 19 of them.
Nice.
If you ever want to come on, let me know. We've got up to
sweet.
I think Hudsucker Proxies. I don't know if you like the Cohens, but
fun.
I'd love to. It's a fun project. Cool. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Awesome. You got it. All right, guys, that's the episode. I'm gonna end the recording, but I'm gonna keep the meeting going.
Cool.
So, all right. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.